not going to call a special session for that. These guys dug this hole. They're going to have to figure out how to get us out of it.
That was Governor Katie Hobbs last week reacting to news that the apparently unbudgeted cost of Arizona's school voucher expansion is growing. That comes as the legislature's independent budget analyst delivered a grim forecast, a projected $400 million deficit in the current fiscal year that ends next July and a $450 million deficit the year after that. So who or what is to blame, and how did the Democratic governor and Republican-controlled legislature agree on a way to get the state out of this hole? We're back with Stacy Pearson, Democratic consultant, co-founder of Lumen Strategies, and Matt Benson, a Republican with Veridus Consulting and former communications director for Governor Jan Brewer. Here are the key takeaways from the Joint Legislative Budget Committee report last week. Individual income tax collections over the last 3 months dropped 27%. $243 million less than anticipated. Sales tax collections were $64 million less than projected because of slower retail sales. Not a great recession by any stretch of the imagination. Matt, you went through that with Governor Brewer. A lot of finger pointing going on, starting with the largest income tax cut in history by Governor Doug Ducey and the legislature 2 years ago. Maybe the tax cut won't pay for itself.
Yeah, shocking. Look, what's to blame here is the same thing that's always been to blame: increased spending and reduced tax revenues. And we have both dynamics here. The state just had a record state budget approved in the spring, almost $18 billion. So, you know, they've blown through the surplus. The money's gone. There is still $1.5 billion rainy day funds. We've got that going for us. But the money is gone, and the tax cuts are kicking in phase by phase. And so this is going to be a challenge, especially if the economy does slip into a recession, as some are projecting.
That $2.5 billion in pork-tastic spending of the surplus this past session, was that a mistake, maybe?
Prescott Rodeo Days would probably say no, or what was Turf Paradise, perhaps. I think the Republican legislature didn't quite calculate how much this runaway, unaccountable ESA spending was going to be. And that is going to be an albatross around their around their candidacies going into this next cycle.
But is the income tax cut, is that the bigger issue right now?
Both. I mean, it's a combination.
By the numbers, the income tax cut is.
Right. Oh, of course. The income tax cut is. You can't run against an income tax cut. I mean, it's just, in terms of political calculation, you can't go, that was terrible. You should pay more. And it puts the Democrats in a corner where they can't talk about raising taxes. What we can talk about is funding, Bobby Joe's dojo and the karate lessons and the pool heaters and the IKEA bookshelves and all of the nonsense pork that is actually being spent in people's kitchens when they're giving their kids terrible educations.
Each side has different priorities. What do you think might be at risk?
Well, look, I think the first thing that tends to get cut when the budget is facing this kind of challenge is higher ed and K-12, because the biggest portion of the budget in particular is spent on public education. So K-12 got a ton of new money in the spring in this year's budget. I don't think you're going to see a lot of new money coming into K-12 anytime soon. And I mean, every area of the budget, again, like you say, nothing about this is new. We cut 40% from the general fund during the Brewer administration during the Great Recession. So fortunately, we're not talking about anything like that. But, this era of adding and spending, it's over.
It's over, just in time for the 2026 election. This does set up a dynamic of ESA spending versus K-12 spending,
of course,
if that's what it comes down to. And boy, you can see the governor and the legislature really butting heads over that.
And it's a great position for the governor to be in on that issue. The vast majority of kids are in public schools, public and charter. We're talking about whether or not these kids have dry erase markers at their disposal, or whether or not these homeschooled kids have pool heaters for their PE program. I mean, it's just fun. It's nuts.
Okay, we're going to keep talking about that for many, many months to come. Got into there. Matt Benson.